Sis, welcome back to the second video in this series. I am Marshawn Olanio, your favorite shift relationship strategist, where I help Black Christian women that are sick and tired of being sick and tired of just like you are. And we're talking about creating an extraordinary relationship, where many of us have not created extraordinary relationships because a plethora of things. But today we're talking about healing and the cost of you not healing before you jump into a relationship, and sometimes before you even jump into a marriage. Now, this is ideally. Why ideally? Because many of us have had relationships before we received the tools, the strategies, or the tips on how to be in a loving, healthy relationship, how to choose a loving, healthy partner, and really how to work on ourselves to become that loving, beautiful partner in order to attract said person. So the cost of you not healing before we get into these relationships and or marriage or marriages, it is first, you not healing your past is going to come back and bite you. See, all of us have had some childhood trauma. It could be small amounts of it. It could be something that was really traumatic, really large, like you seeing one of your parent or parents being murdered. It could be some abuse of some type, right? Whether it's emotional, physical, whatever, some abuse, right? It could be a plethora of things. Like we talk about bullying, right? Nowadays it's called bullying. I called it teasing back in the day, but it doesn't matter. There is some childhood trauma that most of us do not heal from. And we're also not making the connection on the childhood trauma and adulthood being in a healthy relationship. Well, unbeknownst to you, maybe, right? There is a direct connection on your childhood not being healed in the center and your adulthood and your relationships that you are creating in your adulthood. Now, it is costing you because you are attracting the same type of person over and over and over again. That trauma that you experienced that you have yet to heal from is coming to bite you in the butt. So what do I mean by that? Say, for instance, you get triggered every single time somebody yells at you, right? And you don't know why you are getting triggered by your man yelling at you. Well, if you dig a little bit deeper into your past, it could be something like, my dad would always yell at me and I would always cower into a corner. I would shut down, or I would literally run away, right? That flight that they talk about for your survival is kicking in. And so you just run away. It could be that simple, air quotes, right? That simple scenario that I just mentioned could be something that is stopping you from creating an extraordinary relationship because you have yet to heal from that trauma. And now you're putting every man, when he raises his voice, into that box. And you're not realizing that you're actually reverting back to that child, that 5-year-old that got yelled at, where you would then shut down or cower into a corner. So your past traumas are stopping you from creating an extraordinary relationship. The second cost to not healing before you get into a love relationship is that those familiar toxic habits and behaviors that you witnessed and now are doing in your own relationships, they're just tagging along with you. Because we have to recognize that just because our parent or guardian showed us one way to behave in a relationship does not mean it was the correct way. Yelling, screaming, cussing, fussing, and fighting does not help the relationship. But because you saw this as normal, you believe and you are imitating said behaviors, said habits that are actually crippling you and stopping you from creating your own extraordinary relationship. So we must be willing to figure out how to heal and start to heal those parts, because once they start to mend back together, now you know, okay, I can actually have an intelligent conversation with my spouse about what my triggers are. It does not mean that they're going to go away. But now you become more aware of what's actually happening and why you are shutting down. Going back to the last example, why you are cowering in the corner. It could be metaphorically, right? Or it could be something that you're literally going and cowering in the corner. It could be you go in the room and shut your door, that you cowering in the corner instead of facing what is actually in front of you and what is actually happening, because your partner is never going to understand you. That deeper connection that you so long for is never going to be created unless you have an awareness of what is happening. In this case, you're being triggered because of your childhood wounds that have yet to be healed. And now you can articulate this stuff to your partner, to your spouse. But until you are aware of what's actually happening over here, there's no way that you can be able to explain it over here to your spouse. So that is breaking down those barriers in an unhealthy way, right? That whole connection that we begin to form in the beginning, if we don't go deeper and get past the surface, that connection, that bond that you really want to build with your partner or spouse does not occur, and eventually the relationship will break up because they don't understand what the heck is happening with you, and you don't even understand it because you can't articulate it. So the cost of you not healing prior to you get into the relationship is seeing those toxic habits and behaviors just tag along with you from relationship to relationship to relationship. The third thing that these cost of not healing and what it actually does to you is that it stays with you, or it creates a scenario that makes you believe that you need to stay in this toxic relationship. And a lot of people stay in these toxic relationships long past the expiration date. You felt it in here in your heart. You felt it in here in your gut long before you actually physically walked out the door, because maybe you were scared of the breakup or divorce happening, or because maybe you didn't want to start all over again, or because maybe your friends and family were going to look at you a certain way and divorce is not something that is acceptable, or just maybe you didn't want to show up at the party alone. And now everybody's looking at you because you keep starting over. And how come she's not married yet? And all of these things, all of these stories and scenarios that you are playing in your head is because you have yet to invest, as I mentioned in the last one, the time, energy, and effort into understanding who you are, understanding what you want, understanding what you need. And now to add on for today is understanding what the cost of you not healing is and why it's crippling you from creating an extraordinary relationship. That bond that you want is never going to form until you heal. Now stay tuned for video 3. You're going to see it. Video 3 is all about the cost of you not creating and or enforcing your boundaries. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it, and I'll see you next time.